Hi, I'm Pat Randolph, and this is a review of some e-cigarette solutions. I recently quit smoking and wanted to show you some of the experiences I've had with e-cigarettes. So the first thing I did was I bought a blue disposable e-cigarette, which I think is how most people start. And it was about $10, and I noticed I was going through about 2 of those a day, so it was pretty expensive. They didn't seem to last very long. They gave me a pretty decent vape, but it didn't seem to last very long. They had a lot of nicotine in them too, which is an advantage, and they tasted pretty decent. After a couple days of that, I switched to what was called a V2, which I bought at Quick Trip, and I've seen them also at some other convenience stores in the Midwest. The V2 was actually tasted just as good as the blue. And seemed to last about twice as long. It had a lower nicotine level, so you had to use it more often or smoke more of them. In between, I went up to Walmart because I'd seen people buy these before and bought this, which is called the Haus. The Haus, is my understanding, is it's a copy of a common device called an Ego. It's $20 at Walmart, and it comes with the cartomizer, the battery pack, a charger right here, and a lanyard. I don't know what the lanyard's really for, but I haven't used it. You buy the e-liquid. You can buy any brand. This is a Haus brand. And I bought two. I bought this Cherry, and then this is what they're discontinuing now called Java. Each cartomizer has a 2 milliliter tank limit, and there's 10 milliliters of juice in each of these bottles. The cigarette itself sells for $20. These sell for $7 at Walmart. I've also seen them at Mapco's here in Nashville for $8. And they sell the Egos there too, or the Haus version of the Ego too. The Haus is interesting in that it is not like a cigarette in any way. You smoke it by holding it down and kind of drawing on it very slowly, much like a pipe. You hold the button down, which is this button right here, and it turned blue. That button heats liquid inside this tank and then creates a vacuum from the heat, which then allows the vapor to come up. It's kind of a complicated solution. And one of the big problems these have is they leak. I've seen other YouTube videos which said that, and it's pretty easy to fix. If you just blow into the battery, it will clear out the leak and fix the connection. I'm going to also blow on the bottom of the cartomizer. Just by doing that periodically, that will keep your connection good and continue to give you a good vape. If you don't do that, what will happen is it will make a gurgling noise and it will spit the liquid up into your mouth, which is kind of nasty. Whenever you do any kind of maintenance on these, you're going to get liquid all over your hands. So the big disadvantage of this is that you pretty much have to use it as you would use a pipe. It requires a lot of maintenance, kind of constant messing around with it, and you can't carry it with you like a cigarette. But again, it smokes pretty well. So first I thought it was defective, so I bought a second one, and I found out that has the same problem. This actually is the first one I bought. But I talked to a friend of mine today on the phone. She said she bought one for someone, and that they had gone to a vape shop, and they had recommended some simple fixes. I've seen people talk about pulling the pin with a pair of needle-nose pliers. I've also read people replacing these gaskets. I don't think either of those things are really necessary. Just blow out the contacts periodically and you'll be fine. But certainly what you can't do is carry those around your pocket like you would a cigarette, and especially if you're a guy, you don't have a purse, then it's kind of a difficult thing to do. So when you're out, if you want to smoke, a good solution for that is something called the Mark 10. The Mark 10, I bought 2 of these today also, one at a Thornton's here in Nashville for $9.49, and then a second one was $11 at a Mapco. You see there's the Mark 10. The Mark 10 is about the size of a Marlboro 72, shorter than a regular cigarette. Comes in 2 pieces. Here they are, and you just put them together. It comes pre-charged. That's not saying much because the battery doesn't last very long. The advantage of the Mark 10, it's actually made by a cigarette company. I don't know which one, but it's one of the major tobacco companies actually made this, and they did a good job making it more like a cigarette than anything else. The blue is a lot like a cigarette, but unfortunately the blue, at least the disposable one, is both large and doesn't last very long. In fact, it lasted for such a short time at its $10 price point that I got frustrated after buying a couple of them, switched to the cheaper V2 disposable, which I bought for $5.99. But it wasn't long after that that I just got fed up with buying disposable ones. It's also not very environmentally friendly given how much waste is involved. So with these, at least you do throw away this portion here, which comes in a little pack. 2 packs you can buy for between $6 and $7 at most stores. They're very nicely sealed. You can easily put in your pocket. They have an expiration date clearly marked on them. You just screw it in, and there you go. Very simple. The system comes with a charger like this. You can see it has a battery pack plugged into it now. It charges in about an hour using a USB 3 port on a laptop or your car cigarette lighter if you have a USB adapter. It lasts maybe about an hour to an hour and a half actually smoking it. So you're really going to need to have 2 of these, an extra one around, if you're going to actually use it. But unfortunately, if you are a smoker and you're trying to quit, buying one of these more expensive, more complicated models, although it's better, is not going to do you a whole lot of good when you're actually in kind of high-stress situations where you'd want a cigarette. This is just going to cause you to be even more frustrated. So it's a good solution when you're at the house relaxing at the end of the day and you want a good amount of nicotine. It will give you much more nicotine, but it's very high maintenance. So I recommend for those people who want to just have something they can carry around with them, and they're either interested in just quitting smoking and not becoming a e-cigarette user necessarily, but just want to quit. This is probably the best solution on the market. And again, it's called a Mark 10. I'm Pat Rand.